peoples, what's up? My name is Jason and I'm from the Shelf Stories YouTube channel. And I'm here in the Dice Tower today to review Regicide. Regicide is a cooperative game for 1 to 4 players, published by BGG Games. This one is a 52 card deck with 2 jokers. You can play with the components as long as you have the rules. You probably have the components sitting in your house right now. You are going to get the neat artwork and you are going to get the rule set in here, so that's what you're getting. It is a kind of management game. You are progressing through a series of enemies, a stack of enemies, Jack, Queen, King, using hand management. So it is a solitaire game in essence, but it is not luck-based. It promises a higher level of tactical skill and decision-making. So does it follow through? I will show you. So without further ado, let's go to the videotape. All right, so welcome to a game of Regicide. I have a game fully laid out, a multiplayer game. In this case, it's 2 players. It's 7 cards each. If I had 3, a third, and a 4th player, I would be distributing less cards in your hand, but the gameplay is basically the same. All right, so this is the castle, and I am trying to defeat the Jack. I'm trying to defeat the Jacks, and then the guards outside. I'm defeating the Queens, and then eventually I'm going to commit the name of the game, which is Regicide. I have to slowly make my way into the castle and beat all of these cards in order to win. So this is the kind of a guide to let you know how strong each card is. So the Jack will attack you for 10, has 20 health that you got to get through. The Queen will attack you for 15, get 30 health, and the King is going to be nice and beefy. This is your health pool. There's a collective health pool among the entire group. So when hopefully this doesn't run out, or else you'll be in big trouble. Okay, so on your turn, you're going to take your hand. You're going to play 1 card generally. So this 1 card is going to do 2 different effects. First of all, it's going to set up the amount of damage that you do according to the number, and it is going to proc a power depending on the suit that you play. So for example, let's say I played the 7 of spades. I would be responsible for 7 damage. On future turns, I and other players will play different numbers. When those numbers add up to the health value, I've defeated the monster. So that's what the number does. The power, there are 4 different suits and 4 different powers. This is a block. So normally if I would allow the Jack to hit me, I didn't play a paladin, I would have to take the 10 damage and discard something along the lines of 4-6. See you later. However, I've played a spade, and so I block 7 of the damage, and I'm responsible for 3. So I'll just get rid of this 4, no change, and away we go. All right, so then I have other options that I can do on my turn. I can play a diamond that is card draw. So right now wouldn't be a great way to play because it would run up against my maximum hand size, but as the game progresses, I play this, do a little bit of damage, and then draw up the cards, distribute it amongst all the players. Let's say I didn't discard that 4. Let's say that I'm playing that 4. It would heal me, which would take the concept of discard, I'd shuffle them up, and then make my life deck a little bit fatter. So kind of sustainability right there. And this is the most fun one. So this is double damage. Roar, barbarian. You play it, and whatever, it would be worth 8. So that's basic card play. There are a couple of wrinkles that make this a little bit more fun. Never fun to have the lower cards, always fun to get the higher cards. However, if you can begin to build sets, so then 2 2s, 3 2s, 4 2s, a couple of 4s, all the way up to pair 5, so they let you set up until 10. You can actually combine the value and get both powers. So in this particular case, I would be able to add up to 8, so shuffle 8 cards, quote unquote heal 8 cards, and do 8, which is doubled 16 damage. Pow! So that would be a little bit of a fun thing to do right there. The last way in which you can combine cards is the trusty animal companion, which is very, very fun. Only combines with 1 card, so I have to combine it with, say, let's say I'd back to the original paladin over here. This would be 8 damage, 7 plus 1 at 8. I would draw 8 cards and block 8 damage. The ace can go with any individual card. Last card to note, I have it set aside for just a second, just for illustration purposes, is the Joker. The Joker comes into play, something I should have mentioned before. When you play the same suit as the enemy, it negates. So, roar, he wants to do 10 damage, roar. Oh, wait a minute, it's the same suit. I only do 5. Wah, wah, wah. Unless someone plays a Joker first, the Jester, so to speak, this would negate that nullifying power. And he would go, roar, doing 10 damage. All right, so that is a lot of shenanigans. So let's say I had done something like this. Let's say I played the Joker, and then just kind of keep it all in front of me. I played this for 10 damage going against there, and I played this one to finish him off. 20 damage is a special case. Normally, when I do any kind of damage, it would be discarded. But doing the exact damage is the effect of like shooting the moon. It would go on top of the deck, and play would keep going, and I would draw the more powerful card first. Once it goes into your hand, it is the suit, and also adds that value. That's a very excellent thing to have. All right, so finally the game does allow for a solo mode, so you would get 8 cards. The balance is, that's a terrible thing that, relative to 2 players having 14 cards, you having 8. You do have perfect information, so you have more likely to, hit that exact number. So that's kind of the balancing there. Lower hand size, but more information. The difference is just one big difference. The Jokers are actually out of the deck in solo. So then what you would do, instead of the enemy immunity thing, so you lose that power, but what happens is, because you might not draw diamonds that you need just out of luck of the draw, you can twice a game use that, flip that, discard all of your cards, whatever you have, and just draw up a new hand. And that is how you play Regicide. All right, so that was Regicide at the table. Normally how I like to review games is I like to talk about the thematic headspace in which a game puts you in while you're playing it, and also the strategic headspace, the decisions, the tactics and strategy, all that kind of stuff. So kind of left brain, right brain, so to speak. But for this one, I have to explain a little bit about my context and my fun in order to understand where I'm going to go with the review. So when I was a kid, I played a lot of cards. 52 cards. They were my best friends. I wore those things out, and then whenever I would wear them out, and I'd get another one. And I played, different types of card games with a lot of solitaire, and all different kinds of solitaire. Klondike and Tri-Peaks, Free Cell, different ones, Concentration, Clock Game. You may have never heard those games, but I was searching far and wide for every single good or decent. I was a kid. I didn't know better. But decent card game variant that I could find. So when I grew up, I obviously graduated to, the more complex games. So because a lot of those games can tend to be a little bit lucky, but I've always had that in my heart. So that's to explain the context of this review. I am reviewing basically a playing card game variant, throwing some rules on there. And I can say this game is fabulous. It scratches exactly my need to have a card game that is based on a deck of cards, but with more tactics and strategy, more decisions, more of what I want as a gamer. So just the game doesn't have the theme is you're storming a castle and you're killing the corrupted king. So do I feel like I'm storming a castle? No. But the way that the suits play out and the way that the artwork kind of evokes what the card does is excellent. Very, very well thought out. You have the 4 suits, and they're represented by 4 different role-playing derived classes, and they do what they're supposed to do. The paladin protects, the barbarian smashes and grabs, the cleric heals, and the wizard it draws cards, makes your kind of resources better. Perfect. I didn't have to explain that when I'm explaining to other gamers, what does this card do again? Well, look at it. I don't have to explain it over and over again. Look at it. There's a little cherub there with a vial, a red vial. That's a Cure Light Wounds potion. Just go for it. That's what you do. And the rule set is simple enough where once you teach it, you're good to go, and it's just a pleasure to be in. So that's one part. Once you're past that, though, the game, I feel, delivers that higher level of strategy. You have genuine decisions from turn to turn that don't just depend on what's in the card deck. You have different options for how you're going to defeat the enemies. Are you going to lay down some defense first? Do you not have defense first? Are you going to, you got to manage the card draw, and you have to, because you can't naturally draw. You have to play the card for it. And I mean, this so or like a really cool thing is defeating the enemy exactly, getting that shoot the moon aspect that I call it, shoot the moon. So get that nice thing where you just kind of get the enemy on top of the deck and turns into a very powerful card in your hand. Solo and cooperative both work really, really well. Obviously, I've played a ton of this solo. I didn't win into my 11th game of solo. I was beginning to think that I couldn't win. It was unwinnable. I had to make house rules. But eventually, the strategy kind of clicked. I kind of knew what to prioritize, knew what to do. And I kept on playing. I don't win all the time, but I feel like I've grown in the strategy of this. And I love that sense. Cooperative is also good. Cooperative, it's more guesswork, maybe. The trick is in solo, you have to manage your hand totally. You don't get that many cards. In cooperative, the players share, so you get lots of cards available to you, but you don't know what anybody has. And you can't talk about it. So you're just like, I can go, let me, save the card for me. I want to put down some defense. Or you can't say put down some defense, but you get the sense like, okay, if they're saying that, they probably have some defense. Or maybe they're like, they have the card they need in order to deal the exact damage. So you get that kind of like, it's almost a little bit like the mind in that way, where you're trying to kind of mentally tell people what you have in your mind without saying it out loud. And it's not one of those like kind of fake co-op, limited communication things. I can think there's a real impact. It has a real game impact, not knowing, but still having to coordinate. Wow. What a package out of the 52 card deck. Is it perfect? No. The problem with 52 card deck games, they do limit your choice, and you can get hosed by the deck. And there are definitely times where the deck just doesn't have the win in there for you. And that could be a little frustrating. But it's fast to shuffle up and play again. All right, so final thoughts time. Regicide gets an 8 out of 10 seal of approval. Very high seal of approval. For me, it passes the smile test. The smile test is when I play a game, when I beat the game, or just generally enjoy the game, I get like this big old yes smile on my face. And that definitely happens with me with Regicide. And I really want to be very clear with people, because I know, the 8 out of 10, am I going to enjoy this game? This might not be your fun. If you are not a person who enjoys a classic solitaire game or a classic card game, if you're not a person that enjoys luck, there are times where the loss is just in the deck, and there's nothing you can really do about it. For me, I'm very used to, okay, that didn't work out. It does not take long to play this game, set up this game, whether co-op or solo, shuffle it up, try again, and get to that big, happy, smiling point again. So, love this game. It's going to stick around with me for a long time. This copy, because I do love the art. It's great. So, please go ahead and visit my channel, which is Shelf Stories. Shelf Stories is where I have lots of gaming-oriented content, conversations with people. Outside of gaming, I have history chats and culture chats, and my Shelf Help series where I give tips and tricks as a psychotherapist on how to be a happier gamer and a happier person. So this is Jason reminding you, if you could change your mind, you could change the world. So until next time, later, everybody.